The Voynich Manuscript, a medieval manuscript with pages full of drawings of strange plants, women bathing in green liquid, astrological charts, and an undecipherable code that even computer programs have failed to crack. Not only are the purpose of its contents still unknown, even its origins and authorship have yet to be determined. What secrets could this 600-year-old illustrated vellum codex be hiding? Join us as we try and trace back the Voynich Manuscript's history and dig deep into the theories that try to answer the mystery of its meaning. The history of the Voynich Manuscript is not as contested as its contents, but there are some gaps where the book's location couldn't be confirmed. While the author of the manuscript has not been determined, it has been carbon dated to be from the 15th century, possibly written in southern Germany or northern Italy during the Italian Renaissance. The earliest owner of the manuscript is believed to be the astrologer John Dee, who owned several manuscripts of Roger Bacon, a 13th century English scientist. Emperor Rudolf II of Germany, Holy Roman Emperor 1576 to 1612, bought it from him for 600 gold ducats, thinking that the manuscript was one of the works of Roger Bacon. This is verified in Dee's records, where it is written that he had 630 ducats in October 1586. His son also noted that Dee owned a book containing nothing but hieroglyphics, which book his father bestowed much time upon, but I could not hear that he could make it out. An inscription on folio 1R on the manuscript, only seen through ultraviolet light, reads Jacobi de Tepeniet. It indicates that Emperor Rudolf might have handed the book to Jacobus Hortici de Tepenietz. Somehow the manuscript then landed in the hands of an alchemist from Prague named Georgius Bartius in 1637. Georgius Bartius, a lawyer by trade, thought that the manuscript's content was medical, which he views as the most beneficial branch of learning for the human race, apart from the salvation of souls. He wrote to Athanasius Kircher, a Jesuit polymath living in Rome, asking him to try deciphering the text. In March 1639, Kircher writes back that he was unable to do so. Bartius' heir, Prague scientist Johannes Marcus Marci of Kronland, inherited the manuscript and sent it again to Kircher in 1666. For the next 250 years, the manuscript's location is unknown, possibly hidden away in a secret library. Until in 1903, Italian Jesuits of the Society of Jesus, a Jesuit college at Frascati near Rome, sold around 380 manuscripts in their possession to the Vatican Library. The sale took 9 years to complete, but a few of the manuscripts in the collection managed to land in the hands of a Polish rare books dealer, Wilfrid Voynich, including the world's most mysterious manuscript. The book remained part of Voynich's estate until his widow Ethel Voynich sold it to H.P. Krauss after his death in 1930. In 1969, Krauss gave it to the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library in Yale, where it has remained ever since, logged in as MS-408. What is the Voynich Manuscript? From the outside, there's nothing really remarkable about this handwritten codex. It actually looks quite dull, with historians describing its cover to be the Renaissance equivalent of a paperback. But once opened, it immediately intrigues the reader. As Voynich once wrote, "My interest was aroused at once." Inside, there are 234 pages made of vellum, specially prepared cowskin. According to the experts, the entire manuscript was probably made from at least 14 full cowskins. Experts also found that there are pages missing, and their order might have been rearranged. It is estimated that the manuscript might have contained as many as 272 pages. The manuscript is filled with vibrantly colored illustrations of plants, stars, and lots of naked women. Elegant scribblings in an unknown language, written with a quill pen, accompanied the drawings. This language is often called Voynichese by those that study the codex. Most of the words are 4 to 5 letters and appear to have roots, prefixes, and suffixes. Experts found spelling and grammatical patterns, though no sentences seem to be repeated. The text is written from left to right, and there are no mistakes in the writing. The ink ingredients are believed to have included vitriol, oak, gall nuts, egg, fruit peels, and wine. Chemical analysis of these ingredients has concluded that they are consistent with medieval recipes. Based on the illustrations, the codex can be divided into 6 sections: astronomy and astrology, botany, biology, cosmology, pharmaceutical, and recipes. The astronomy and astrology pages contain drawings of celestial charts, zodiac symbols, suns, moons, and stars. The botany section contains illustrations of 113 unidentified plant species. The biology section features drawings of naked females, some with swollen abdomens, bathing in pools of green liquid, pouring from interconnected pipes or in buckets, while interacting with pipes of some kind. The cosmology section features 9 cosmological medallions that are believed to represent geographical layouts. The pharmaceutical section contains drawings of more than 100 different medicinal herbs and roots in jars or vessels. The recipes section is filled with continuous lines of text, with each entry marked by star-like flowers in the margins. Several centuries have passed, and the cipher that is the Voynich Manuscript has yet to be decoded. There have been numerous speculations as to its origins and contents. Some speculate that the manuscript is actually a hoax, a prank created by medieval charlatans, or an occult philosopher. Some insist that the book might have been left to us by aliens. Though the former theory is more plausible than the latter, both have no significant evidence to support them. In fact, in 2014, Brazilian researchers discovered that the text has a lot of similar linguistic patterns found in natural languages. So, claims that the manuscript is just an elaborate prank, a book full of gibberish and mumbo-jumbo, don't have much of a leg to stand on. There were many who initially believed that the Voynich Manuscript was the work of the radical 13th century philosopher and Franciscan friar Roger Bacon. This included University of Pennsylvania professor William Newbold. In 1915, Voynich traveled to the US showing photographic samples of the manuscript, hoping to find someone who could decipher the text. In 1920, Newbold claimed that Roger Bacon had written the manuscript, and he, Newbold, had discovered a possible solution to the cipher. However, his solution was proven incorrect by University of Chicago classicist John Matthews Manley in 1931. In addition, any possibility of the manuscript being Roger Bacon's work has been completely ruled out. According to findings from the University of Arizona in 2009, there's a 95% probability that the manuscript was written between 1404 and 1438. Roger Bacon died in 1292. There were even some who believed it might have been the work of Da Vinci. But he was born in 1452, years after the manuscript is believed to have been written. Carbon-14 analysis also rules out the theory that the manuscript was written during 16th century Mesoamerica. In 1925, Manley connected Voynich with the cryptologist known for deciphering Japan's code during World War II, William Friedman. Voynich sent him a few photos of the manuscript. Apart from the time he worked as a codebreaker during the war, Friedman spent decades attempting to unlock the secrets of this codex. He ultimately admitted defeat in 1959. According to Friedman, the text is possibly an invented language. It's quite possible. But for what purpose? What value does this book bring if no one can read it? Many other attempts have been made to discover the secrets of the Voynich Manuscript, including Alan Turing and his team in Bletchley Park, and various theories have been presented to explain its origins. It has been speculated that the Voynich Manuscript is a pigeon prayer book from a heretical Christian sect. Theoretical physicist Andreas Schinner believes that it was written by an autistic monk who subconsciously followed a strange mathematical algorithm in his head. Some believe that it might have come from Mexico. Two botanists published a paper in 2014 stating that they found similarities between some plant illustrations in the Voynich Manuscript and those found in old Mexican botanical books. It might be possible that the text is written in an ancient Aztec language, such as Nahuatl. One Canadian researcher, Mr. Ahmet Ardik, believes that the Voynich Manuscript was written in a poetic, rhythmic method called phonomic orthography, which describes speech visually. And an ancient Turkish language may be the solution to deciphering the text. In 2017, a history researcher and television writer Nicholas Gibbs claimed to have cracked the code. In fact, according to him, it wasn't a code at all. It was shorthand or abbreviated medical recipes that were copied from medieval Latin medical books such as the Trotula. According to him, the Voynich Manuscript is a women's health guide, and its contents would be clear to everyone if only the index of the manuscript was still there. However, critics claimed that his findings were nothing new. Other scholars have already agreed that the text of the manuscript is medical in nature. Moreover, experts stated that his decoded text, the abbreviations that Gibbs mentioned, doesn't result in Latin that makes sense. And as for the missing index, there is no indication that any of the missing pages from the manuscript was the index. In 2019, an academic from the University of Bristol, Jared Cheshire, claimed to have found a solution to the Voynich Manuscript. He identified the text as a calligraphic proto-Romance language written by a Dominican nun as a reference source for Maria of Castile, Queen of Aragon. His interpretation method has yet to undergo true peer review, though. In 2020, a German Egyptologist from the Römer and Peloponnesus Museum in Hildesheim, Rainer Hanig, announced that he has cracked the code. He believes that the manuscript's language is based on Hebrew. He isn't the first to propose this. In 2018, two computer scientists stated the same when they used artificial intelligence to try to decipher this mysterious codex. The AI was trained to recognize 380 languages with 97% accuracy. And according to its analysis of the text, the language is likely to be ancient Hebrew. According to their hypothesis, the words were alphagrams where the letters are arranged in alphabetical order and the vowels are omitted. When unscrambled, 80% of the words found were in the Hebrew dictionary. However, a Hebrew translator wasn't able to make sense of the text. At least, translate it into some form of coherent English. So these two decoders decided to use Google Translate, and it seemed to work after they corrected some spelling errors. They were able to translate a 72-word section, which included words such as farmer, light, air, and fire. Unfortunately, there were several problems with this project. One was their use of Google Translate. Another issue was that their algorithm was created to identify modern languages, not ones from the 15th century. In addition, the 20% of the text that wasn't Hebrew was matched with different languages such as Malay, Arabic, and Amharic. These languages are very, very different from Hebrew. Unfortunately, none of these theories have ever gained approval within the huge community of cryptographers, medieval scholars, linguists, astronomers, and amateur codebreakers. The only thing everyone does agree on is that the manuscript is medical or scientific in nature and was written during the 15th century. Only time will tell whether anyone will ever find the answer to the mystery of the Voynich Manuscript. If you love our content and want to support the channel, feel free to check our web shop where you can find exclusive true crime merch brought to you by Bad Things.